When we think of great leaders, we often picture loud voices and big actions. We think of kings and generals on the battlefield. But true strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it is a quiet, steady light. A light that shines in the darkest of times. This is the story of Empress Menen Asfaw of Ethiopia. She was a woman whose power came from her heart. Her story is one of grace, courage, and deep love for her people. She was the wife of the famous Emperor Haile Selassie. But she was so much more than that. She was a leader in her own right. Her work changed Ethiopia forever, especially for women and children. Her life is a powerful lesson for all of us. It shows us that you don't need a crown to be a queen in your community, you just need a heart full of compassion. Empress Menen's story has been whispered, but not shouted. It has been kept in the hearts of Ethiopians, but it is a story the whole world needs to hear. It is a story about the incredible strength of a woman who faced war, exile, and immense challenges. Yet she never lost her hope, she never stopped serving others. She built schools, she cared for the sick, she gave a voice to the voiceless. Today, we are going to shine a bright light on this amazing woman. We will walk through her journey. From her humble beginnings to her place on the throne, we will see how she used her position not for herself, but for her people. Empress Menen was a true mother to her nation. She nurtured it with kindness and dedication. She planted seeds of hope that are still growing today. Her life teaches us that leadership is about service. It is about lifting others up. It is about leaving the world a little better than you found it. So, get ready to be inspired. Get ready to learn about a heroine whose name you may not know, but whose spirit you will never forget. Her story is a testament to the power of quiet strength. It is a reminder that one person, filled with love and purpose, can truly make a difference. Empress Menen Asfaw was that person, and her light continues to shine, showing us the way. Let's celebrate her life and learn from her incredible example of leadership and love. Every great story has a beginning. Empress Menen's story starts in the beautiful highlands of Ethiopia. She was born on April 3, 1891, in a region called Wollo. Her family name was Walada Georgis. She was born into a world of tradition and change. Even as a little girl, there was something special about her. She had royal blood in her veins. Her family was connected to the powerful rulers of Wollo. This meant she grew up understanding duty and responsibility. She learned early on that her life might have a greater purpose. Her destiny was woven into the fabric of her nation's history. Imagine growing up in Ethiopia at that time. It was a period of great uncertainty. There were conflicts and struggles for power. The country was fighting to stay independent. Young Menen saw this all around her. She witnessed the strength and resilience of her people. This shaped her character. It made her strong. It made her compassionate. She learned that to lead is to understand the struggles of your people. Her childhood was not just about royal heritage. It was about learning life's toughest lessons early. These experiences prepared her for the incredible journey that lay ahead. She was not just a girl with a royal name, she was also deeply connected to her faith. From a young age, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church was a central part of her life. Her faith gave her strength. It gave her a moral compass. It taught her about forgiveness, kindness, and service to others. This spiritual foundation would become her rock throughout her life. It would guide her through personal tragedies and national crises. Her deep faith was not just a private belief, it was the source of her public actions. It fueled her desire to help and heal her nation. Her early life was a preparation for greatness. She was married at a very young age, as was the custom. She had children and faced the joys and sorrows of life like any other woman. But fate had a bigger plan for her. These early experiences, her royal roots, the challenges of her time, and her unwavering faith, all came together. They created a woman of incredible substance and character. A woman who was ready to stand beside an emperor. A woman who was ready to become a mother to an entire nation. Her journey was just beginning. In 1911, a very important event happened. It would change the course of Ethiopian history. Menen Asfaw married a young nobleman named Tafari Makanan. You may know him by his later name, Emperor Haile Selassie I. This was not just a love story, it was a union that brought Ethiopia together. At that time, the country was divided into different regions with powerful leaders. This marriage was a brilliant move. It connected two very important royal families. It helped to unite the country under one vision. It was a symbol of a new, unified Ethiopia. Their partnership was one of deep respect and shared purpose. He saw her wisdom and her kind heart. She saw his vision and his dedication to his country. Together they were a powerful team. She was his most trusted advisor. He often sought her opinion on important matters. Their marriage was a true partnership. It was built on love, faith, and a shared dream for a better Ethiopia. She was not just standing behind him, she was standing right beside him. They were equals in their commitment to their people. This made their leadership strong and effective. When Tafari Makanan was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I in 1930, Menen was crowned Empress. This was a huge moment. For the first time, the Empress was crowned on the same day as the Emperor. This showed the world that she was not just a consort. She was a co-ruler. She had her own role, her own responsibilities. The people of Ethiopia saw her as their Itej, their Empress. She wore her crown with humility and grace. She knew it was a symbol of service, not of power. She was ready to fulfill her duties to her nation. The coronation was a spectacular event. Leaders from all over the world came to witness it. But for Empress Menen, the true meaning was in the promise it held. The promise of progress, the promise of education, the promise of a better life for all Ethiopians. Her marriage and coronation were not the end of her story. They were the beginning of her life's most important work. She was now in a position to make a real difference, and she did not waste a single moment. She immediately began her mission to lift up her people. Empress Menen believed that the future of Ethiopia depended on its children, and she knew that to educate a child, you must first educate its mother. This is why she became a fierce champion for girls' education. At that time, it was not common for girls to go to school, but Empress Menen was determined to change that. She opened the very first high school for girls in Ethiopia. It was called the Empress Menen School for Girls. This was a revolutionary act. It sent a clear message. Girls are valuable, their minds are precious, they deserve the same opportunities as boys. She didn't just build one school, she inspired a movement. She used her own money and influence to support education across the country. She visited schools, she encouraged students. She showed them that their empress believed in them. For thousands of Ethiopian girls, she opened a door that had been closed. She gave them the gift of knowledge. She gave them the chance to dream of becoming doctors, teachers, and leaders. She knew that an educated woman could lift up her entire family and her community. Her work in education was one of her greatest legacies. But her compassion did not stop at the school gates. Empress Menen had a heart that felt the pain of others. She saw the suffering of the poor, the sick, and the orphaned. And she took action. She established charities and organizations to help those in need. She was known to personally visit hospitals, bringing comfort to the sick. She founded the Ethiopian Women's Welfare Association. This organization worked to improve the lives of women and families. She was a hands-on leader. She didn't just give orders from the palace. She was out there with her people, sharing their burdens. She became a true mother figure for the entire nation. People called her Emahoi, which means a revered mother. When there was a crisis, she was there. When there was a need, she responded. She helped build orphanages for children who had lost their parents. She supported programs to feed the hungry. Her charity was not for show. It came from a place of genuine love and empathy. Empress Menen showed what it means to lead with a servant's heart. She used her power to protect and care for the most vulnerable members of her society. In 1935, a dark cloud gathered over Ethiopia. Fascist Italy under Mussolini invaded her beloved country. This was a time of great fear and suffering. The war was brutal. The Ethiopian people fought bravely, but the enemy had modern weapons. For Empress Menen, this was a heartbreaking time. She saw her people being hurt. She saw her country being torn apart. But in the face of this darkness, her spirit did not break. Instead, her courage shone brighter than ever. She stood strong beside her husband, the emperor, as a symbol of resistance. During the war, she became the head of the Ethiopian Red Cross. She worked tirelessly to organize medical aid for the wounded soldiers and civilians. She turned palace grounds into makeshift hospitals. She mobilized women to serve as nurses. She was on the front lines of the home front, leading the relief efforts. She showed incredible strength and resolve. When the capital, Addis Ababa, was in danger, she ensured the safety of her children before thinking of herself. Her priority was always her family and her people. Her bravery inspired everyone around her. Eventually, the emperor and his family were forced into exile. They had to leave their home to continue the fight for Ethiopia's freedom from abroad. This must have been one of the hardest moments of her life. Leaving her country and her people behind was a great sacrifice. They settled in Bath, England. But exile was not a vacation. It was a continuation of the struggle. Empress Menen never saw it as a time to rest. She saw it as a new battlefield, a place where she could fight for her country with different weapons: diplomacy, fundraising, and prayer. Even far from home, her heart remained with her people. She co-founded the Ethiopian World Federation. This organization helped to gather support for Ethiopia from around the world. She organized fundraisers to buy medical supplies for the resistance fighters back home. She spent countless hours in prayer, asking for God's protection over her nation. She was a beacon of hope for Ethiopians everywhere. She reminded them that they were not forgotten. She was their empress, fighting for them, even from thousands of miles away. Her strength during these years of exile was truly remarkable. At the very core of Empress Menen's being was her deep, unshakable faith. She was a devout member of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. For her, faith was not just a Sunday ritual, it was the air she breathed. It was the foundation upon which she built her life of service and compassion. In times of peace, her faith guided her charity. In times of war, it was her shield. She believed that with God, all things were possible. This powerful belief gave her the strength to face unimaginable challenges, from personal loss to the invasion of her country. Her support for the church was legendary. She didn't just pray in the churches, she helped build them. She used her personal funds to construct and renovate many churches and monasteries throughout Ethiopia. She understood that these were not just buildings. They were the spiritual heart of the community. They were places of refuge, learning, and hope. One of her most famous contributions was to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. She sponsored the rebuilding of a chapel there, ensuring that Ethiopia had a strong presence in the holiest city in Christendom. Her piety was personal and sincere. She was known to spend hours in prayer each day. She observed the long and rigorous fasts of the church faithfully. This spiritual discipline was not for public display. It was a private conversation with God. It was where she found her peace and her purpose. Her example inspired the people around her. They saw an empress who was powerful yet humble before God. This made her even more beloved. Her spiritual leadership was just as important as her political role. She was the spiritual mother of the nation, guiding her people with grace and prayer. This deep faith was her anchor during the difficult years of exile. While living in England, she established a small Ethiopian Orthodox chapel in their home. It was a piece of Ethiopia, a sacred space where she could connect with God and pray for her country's liberation. She believed firmly in the power of prayer to change circumstances. She prayed for the safety of the freedom fighters. She prayed for the suffering civilians, and she prayed for the day they would all return home. Her faith was not passive. It was an active, powerful force for good in the world. After 5 long years of exile, the day Empress Menen had prayed for finally arrived. In 1941, Ethiopian and Allied forces liberated Ethiopia from Italian occupation. The Emperor and Empress could finally go home. Their return was a moment of incredible joy and celebration for the entire nation. The people lined the streets to welcome back their beloved leaders. For Empress Menen, it was a deeply emotional moment. She was returning to a country that was wounded but not broken. She knew that the work of rebuilding was just beginning. There was no time to rest. She immediately threw herself back into her mission of service. The war had left behind many scars. There were orphans to care for, hospitals to rebuild, and a nation to heal. She picked up right where she left off, with even more determination. She expanded her work with the Empress Menen School for Girls, ensuring that a new generation of women would have the tools to help rebuild the country. She also focused on healthcare, supporting the construction of new hospitals and clinics. She understood that a healthy nation was a strong nation. Her role as a mother figure became even more important after the war. She was a symbol of stability and nurturing care in a country recovering from trauma. She continued her work with the Ethiopian Women's Welfare Association, empowering women to take an active role in society. She never sought the spotlight. Her leadership style was quiet but incredibly effective. She worked behind the scenes, making sure that projects were funded and that help reached those who needed it most. Her steady presence was a source of comfort and strength for all Ethiopians. Even as she grew older, her commitment never wavered. She remained active in her charitable work and her support for the church until the end of her life. She passed away on February 15, 1962. The entire nation mourned her loss. She was buried in the Holy Trinity Cathedral in Addis Ababa, next to her husband. Her passing marked the end of an era, but her legacy was already firmly planted in the hearts of her people. She had shown them what it means to lead with love, to serve with humility, and to never give up hope. So, why does the story of Empress Menen Asfaw matter so much today? It matters because it is a story about the incredible power of a woman's leadership. She showed us that leadership is not about being the loudest person in the room. It is about compassion, service, and quiet strength. In a world that often overlooks the contributions of women, her life is a powerful reminder that women have always been at the heart of building nations. She was a queen, a mother, a warrior, and a servant all in one. Her example continues to inspire women in Ethiopia and around the world to this day. Her legacy lives on in the institutions she built. The schools she founded have educated generations of women who have gone on to become leaders in their own right. The hospitals she supported continue to heal the sick. The charities she established still provide care for the vulnerable. These are not just buildings or organizations, they are living monuments to her vision and her love for her people. She planted seeds of progress that have grown into mighty trees, providing shade and fruit for so many. Her influence is woven into the very fabric of modern Ethiopian society. Empress Menen's life is also a timeless lesson in resilience. She faced war, exile, and personal tragedy, but she never allowed hardship to defeat her spirit. Her unwavering faith and her deep sense of purpose carried her through the darkest of times. Her story gives us hope. It teaches us that even when things seem impossible, we can find strength within ourselves and our faith to keep going. She is a beacon of hope for anyone facing a struggle. She shows us that grace and dignity can be our greatest weapons against adversity. Ultimately, Empress Menen Asfaw was more than an empress. She was a gift to her people. She lived a life of purpose, and she left the world a better place. Her story is not just a piece of history, it is a call to action. It challenges each of us to ask ourselves, how can we serve our communities? How can we lift others up? How can we lead with love? Empress Menen showed us the way. Her light was quiet, but it was powerful, and it continues to shine, reminding us of the extraordinary difference one beautiful life can make. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.